there, welcome to Craft Central Designs. Today I'm sharing with you a new and different Easter wreath style. This one is a floral wreath, and I dressed up that cute $1.25 bunny from the Dollar Tree and placed it in the wreath. This one was such fun to make. I love it, and I hope you do as well. Welcome all to my channel today. I'm so pleased you stopped by. And if you are not a current subscriber, I hope you will consider becoming one. And as well, leave me your comments and tell me what you think of this wreath and my bunny makeover. And of course, if you would please give this video a thumbs up. Okay, let me show you how I created this very cute Easter wreath. Let's look at the materials that I used to create this wreath. I have there a straw wreath frame that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. Now I'm going to be wrapping that with burlap, so you could use any 14-inch wreath frame. You could use one from the Dollar Tree or any type of wreath frame. I used a 14-inch wreath frame, as I mentioned. Just going to be wrapping it with that burlap that I had on my hand there, which was from Walmart. Here's that $1.25 cute bunny. Now this bunny's cute, but it could really use even more cuteness. And I'm going to show you how I did that, including adding some pipe cleaners to the ears so we could bend those cute long ears over. I have some materials that I'm going to use to dress up the bunny. Now, there's a ribbon there, which you're not going to believe this, but I actually did not create a bow for this wreath. I know, it's pretty shocking, but I thought the florals and the bunny were enough. Okay, so I have a little bit of material there. You might recognize that material from the paws and the ears of that furry bunny that I made on a previous video. I have there a bag of my favorite buttons that I picked up at some point in time at Walmart, and they are still there. I saw them recently. I'm going to be using a button or two on that piece. Now, it's just a simple cotton fabric, and this one's very, very colorful floral, as you can see. And you'll just need a small piece of that to create a little dress for the bunny, if you want to dress up the bunny, that is. I have there a needle and thread in purple, and I have here a pile of florals. Now, I do purchase my florals at Hobby Lobby. However, Dollar Tree does have florals, and I mentioned in my previous video, I was there the other day, and I actually saw some pretty ones. These I had already purchased at Hobby Lobby. Now, the colors are very vibrant. I'm creating this piece for a specific purpose. I'm trying to match it with a floral peel and stick border. So that's my mission for my piece, but you could use any florals that you like. This particular wreath, I'm going to be using very vibrant colors, yellows, different shades of purple, some very vibrant pinks. So I have there just some filler flowers, and I have some of the regular greenery that I use, and I'll be showing you how I'm going to apply those florals onto that wreath frame. I'm going to be using my regular crafting tools, of course. I'm going to need a pipe cleaner to create a hanger. I'm going to be using scissors, a hot glue gun, Aleene's Techie Glue, and for sure, some wire cutters. You'll need probably a finger protector as well, at Aleene's Techie Glue. If you want to add any extra support to your wreath, you could also add to that some green floral wire if you want to wrap your wreath once you get your greenery on there, just to be sure it's secure. Now I'm going to be wrapping that straw wreath frame with this burlap that I purchased at the Dollar Tree, at Walmart. So it's very simple. Just going to wrap around and around and around all that burlap. It doesn't have to be beautiful. It just needs to be covered up. And I'm going to be applying all of my greenery and my florals right to that burlap. Now, burlap is an excellent material to use to adhere something with hot glue. So I'm going to definitely be taking advantage of that with this burlap covered wreath form. Now you can also use floral U-pins. They're shaped like a U, and those will also poke into that straw wreath frame. And you can find those in the floral department at Hobby Lobby or Michael's. U-pins, they're just shaped like a U. They're floral in the floral department. So first thing, if you're going to dress up your bunny, is you're going to have to cut out enough material to wrap around your bunny, but to also take into account that we're going to be gathering the fabric. So at least 2 times as wide as the material you would need to wrap around the bunny. You want it twice, 2.5 to 3 times as wide, because you're going to be gathering it. That may not make sense at the moment, but just you can see how much fabric that I cut to create that dress, because you're going to need more fabric than just the width of the bunny, because you're going to be taking a needle and thread and just hand gathering that. Don't be intimidated if you're not a sewer. It's not important. I'm going to show you how really simple it is. I took my iron and I pressed down about 1/4 inch of that material, just so I would have a finished edge on the top of the dress. I actually ended up doing that very same thing for the bottom of the dress after I determined where I wanted to cut it off and how short or how long I wanted the dress to be. So what I'm going to be doing is threading a needle. And I want that thread to be as long as the fabric, maybe a little bit longer. And what I'm going to be doing, as I mentioned, is I'm just going to hand gather. Trying to see if I could show you the thread there. Don't forget to tie a knot in the end of your thread. I'm showing you there. I'm going to show you how simple it is, if you've never done it before, to gather some material or some fabric. And that's how I'm going to create this dress to go on the bunny. I'm just going to start at one end. And again, be sure you have a knot tied in the end of your thread. And I'm just going to begin weaving my needle through the top of that fabric. And I want to say my stitches are, I guess you could say, maybe 1/4 inch wide. It doesn't have to be tiny stitches. And then what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to weave my thread all the way through the top of that fabric, and then I'm just going to pull the fabric and gather it onto the thread. I'm going to show you this here in a second. You don't want to get any knots in your thread, so be careful as you go that you're not creating knots. Now, once you pull it through, I'm going to show you here. If you pull on your thread and hold your fabric, it's going to gather your fabric. And there, I'm just showing you that my stitches, difficult to see, of course, but my stitches are maybe 1/4 inch, possibly less. But see how when I pull on the thread, it gathers up my fabric? That's what you're going to do all the way across the top of this. This is how you're going to create the fullness of your dress. This is going to be the top of the dress. And now I'm going to continue with my thread, making sure I don't get any knots there. And every time I do maybe 4 or 5 stitches, I just pull the thread a little bit and let the fabric just gather right on my thread. This is super simple. Now what you want is to gather your fabric and then you're going to wrap it around the bunny, and all you need to do is have that top of that fabric wide enough to wrap around the bodice or the chest of your bunny, and that you gauge as you go along. You can widen your gathers, or you can decrease the size of your gathers. I'm going to show you this. It's going to make more sense here in just a minute. But right now I'm just showing you how simple it is to gather fabric. Now, this takes me back to my very beginnings of realizing that I was a diehard crafter, because I began by sewing when I was in middle school. And from then on, I just never stopped creating all my life. And this was my motivation here. I learned how to sew, but with a sewing machine. But simple tasks like this as well. How to gather, all those skills involved in sewing. And it just kind of made me hungry for creating things. And I proceeded to just continue to do that my entire life. All right, enough about my background here. So you see, I've gathered the top of my fabric enough so that it fits all the way around my bunny. Now, you're not going to have to do any more sewing after this. That was it. This is not a toy, so it's actually going to be used for decor. So it doesn't have to have a perfection, and it's not going to be getting any kind of rough treatment because, as I said, it's not a toy. This is a Dollar Tree item, and who knows how long it would even last in the hands of a child. So, but for me, for my purpose, it's just going in my wreath for Easter decor. But you could dress this bunny up and use it in any type of Easter decor. So what you see me doing here at the moment is I'm just closing off. I've decided that that's wide enough. That's the perfect size to fit around my bunny. So I'm just putting a few stitches there on the end to just secure that. Now it's not going to come apart. Those gathers are all on that thread that I use those stitches to create with my needle and thread. Now, I think these bunnies are super cute. I could come up with so many ideas to dress up this bunny. But for this particular wreath, which is very much of a floral, vibrant floral wreath, I just wanted to put a cute little dress on my bunny. And so that's what I'm doing here. Now, obviously, her dress is a little bit long, but first what we're going to do is simply hot glue those gathers onto the bunny. Now, I put that right around the bunny's chest, underneath the bunny's armpits. Does a bunny have armpits? Oh my goodness. Okay, so now I'm going to determine how short I want my dress, and that's up to you. I'm making my dress pretty long on my bunny, and I'm just going to cut it off accordingly. And then after I do so, I'm just going to take my iron once again and iron just about 1/4 of an inch of that fabric on the end so that I have a nice little hem on my dress. And I did use tacky glue. And there's my little hem that I was referring to. I always use an iron when I'm sewing anything, and it helps so much in the process. So now you could see how short I decided to have my little dress. And I'm going to take, I believe I'm going to show you here, I'm just going to take a little bit of Aleene's tacky glue and just glue my hem down, just using a tiny amount of glue. And I'm just going to go all the way around the dress, just so I have a nice little finished hem, if I can get my glue to come out of the bottle there. I'm just going to go all the way around, tiny bits of glue pressing down as I go. And this is going to finish the bottom of the dress for me. Now, after I apply the dress to the bunny, which I'm going to be doing that here in a minute, I mentioned before that you're just going to be gluing the top of that dress down where you created the gathers right to the bunny. And it's super simple to create this. You could do a short dress. You could do a long dress. You could take tulle and create a little tutu. I've done a lot of tutu making in my years of crafting. But that would probably be the next thing I would do with this bunny, is create a very cute little tutu out of tulle. Oh, that would be so cute. All right, so I have a collection of buttons there, and I was kind of deciding there what color buttons I was going to use on my dress. And I think at this point now you're going to see me hot glue, or maybe I already did that. But I just hot glued. I just put my hot glue gun, just poked it. Oh, I'm doing it right now. So I'm going to close the back of the dress. I'm not even going to sew the back of the dress shut. It's just going to be fine just like it is. If you want to close the dress, you could do that with Aleene's Tacky Glue, just by running a stream of it down the back of the dress and folding over the fabric onto itself and close the back of the dress. That's up to you. But now what I'm doing is just securing the dress to the bunny. I think I did put a dab of hot glue right on the bottom at the hem, just to keep the dress closed in the back. But nobody's really going to see the back of the bunny because it's going to be sitting in the wreath. Yeah, I did do that. And then I went around the whole top of the dress and just poked the little nozzle of my glue gun in there, like so, and just made sure that was all tacked down. Now, for the top of the dress, I did some kind of straps, I guess you could call it, for the dress. I just cut out a couple of 4-inch long pieces. Not even, you don't even need quite that long, maybe 3 inches at the most of that same fabric. And I folded it over on itself to create little thin straps, which I'm going to be placing on the dress over the shoulder and adhering them to the back of the dress. So basically what I'm going to show you this, but basically what I'm doing is just creating kind of a little sundress for my bunny with little straps that's going to go over the shoulders. But before I do that, I have some lace. It's kind of a heavy lace, and I'm going to put that right across the bodice or the top of the dress. And that's just going to be glued on, and this is going to hide my little gathers and really finish off the top of that dress. Now, in hindsight, I probably should have put the straps on first, but it was really no big deal because I was very happy that I was able to just stick those straps down on the top of the dress, on the front and the back, and just glue them down in it, and it was just fine. But if you're going to do this before you do too much gluing on the top of the dress, you may want to, if you're going to create this like I am, you may want to just do your straps first and stick those in before you do a lot of gluing on the top of the dress. But like I said, I had already glued mine down and I glued my lace on, and I was still able to add the straps. It's pretty easy. Notice I have my finger protector on because I'm using anything lace, anything burlap, anything tulle. Gotta have that finger protector. Okay, so now I have my lace all glued to the top of my dress. And here we have it so far. She's starting to look pretty. Now I went ahead and cut those little strips of fabric. You could, if you prefer, you could just use a narrow ribbon instead of creating straps out of the fabric. That would work just as well and be just as pretty. Look how pretty she is. Oh my goodness. I think this bunny is super cute for $1.25. Okay, here's my straps. But you see how I just kind of ironed my fabric so that I had nice finished edges. I just folded it under on each side. Now I'm going to create the straps, but like I said, you could use a piece of ribbon. That will work just fine. So I'm just going to simply hot glue that those straps right to the bunny. Now what I'm doing here is just closing up my fabric so that I have a nice finished strap, if you will, to my dress. And as you can see, it's definitely long enough. I'm sure you're going to have to cut it off. But I'm going to show you here how I just glued that right to the bunny. And there's one strap on. Oh my goodness, is that cute? So I just stick it right in the front of the dress. And hopefully, if you glued it first, you could just kind of stick it down in there. Or you could do, like I said, do your straps first. And then do most of your gluing of the top of the dress. But honestly, it came out just fine for me. And I had already glued down the front of my dress, so. But in hindsight, I might have done it differently. Okay, there goes my other strap. And now it's looking like a dress, right? Like a summer sundress for our very cute bunny. And I'm just going to glue that in the back. And I just stick it down underneath that lace right at the top of the gathers there. Give it a little dab of hot glue. And this turns out so cute. Now, to dress up my dress even a little bit further, I have a really pretty pink narrow ribbon there on the table with white polka dots. And I'm just going to create a little small bow. And I have a very cute orchid button with a little gem in the center. So I'm going to dress up that dress even more than it already is in the front once I get done finishing up the back of my dress here. That's just a little stick tool that I use. I save things, odd things that you wouldn't expect, but I always have an eye for like something that I can use in my crafting. And now it's just like a little stick, and it was metal, and I use it all the time for different things. Okay, there's that ribbon. Now I'm just going to fold it over in like a little figure 8. I'm just going to use glue to hold that. And then I'm just going to glue my little purple, or my little orchid flower button right there in the center. That's going to dress up the front of my dress. And I don't put it in the center of the dress. I kind of put it off a little bit to the right side. And there's that flower button that I was talking about. Now I do create another little bow, smaller even than that bow, to put up at the ear of the bunny. And I'm going to show you here in just a bit how you can take a full-size pipe cleaner and stick it up in the ears so that you can bend the ears over. Otherwise, they're just flopping around. I mean, this is $1.25 bunny, okay? So, and the funny thing is that during the handling, speaking of $1.25 bunny, there's my bow with my flower button. Okay, are you loving this bunny so far? Okay, back to what I was saying. During the handling of this bunny, it lost its nose, and I could not find it anywhere. So I had to take out some pink felt and cut a new nose. But let's go on to the bunny ears here. So a full-size pipe cleaner is just about right to fit inside. So you're going to shape your pipe cleaner like the ear. And what we're going to do is turn the bunny over on the back side. And at the base of the ear, we're just going to cut a tiny slit, just big enough to feed that pipe cleaner into the ear. And this works like a charm. Oh my gosh, what a great thing for this bunny to be able to control the ears and bend them whichever way I want them. Oh, I love this. Okay, so I have my pipe cleaner shaped like the ear. I'm going to go on the back, right at the base of the ear. Just cut a little tiny slit, just enough to be able to insert that pipe cleaner. And then after you insert the pipe cleaner, then all you're going to do is just take a little bit of hot glue and glue that little slit closed. Okay, and now I'm sticking my pipe cleaner in there. Watch how easily this goes in. And there you go. Now, if there's any excess pipe cleaner poking out, just snip it off. You could use white or you could use pink. It doesn't matter. It's not going to show inside of there. Which either or, use whatever you have on hand. And then you can see I'm just going to close up that slit. Just like it never happened, it's going to be concealed. And then I'm going to, of course, do the other ear. And this is a really cute way to add some charm to your bunny. I think there's so cute to be able to bend over the ears. And this bunny has nice long ears to do that. You want to hold it till, and you see that? This works so well. Now we're going to do the other ear, but you don't need to see me do that. You saw me do one. Now those ears are at attention. Okay, so now I have a little tiny bow that I'm going to put at the ear, and I'm going to use one of these little baby flowers that I had gotten in the sticker department at Hobby Lobby. You've seen me use these before. I absolutely love them. But you could use anything. You could use a little tiny button. You could use a little flower. You could use nothing. You could just make a bow. You don't necessarily have to insert anything in the center. I just look at how cute with that little white flower. Now I'm just going to hot glue that right at the ear. Now I did everything with hot glue except for the obvious things that you saw me doing, like using tacky glue for the hem of the dress. If you feel, that you need more than that, Aleene's tacky glue, you can always add a dab of that with anything that you hot glue. There we go. Look at that. Oh my gosh, I love it. All right, now this bunny, as you can see, lost its nose. I could not find it anywhere. One minute it had a nose, the next minute it didn't. So I just had to get out some pink felt and I cut out a little heart nose out of pink felt, and I just hot glued it on. Now the eyes on this bunny are really generic. They're very simple, just dots basically. So another thing that I did was I got out a little Sharpie pen, and I just added some little eyelashes on the eyes of that bunny. Now these bunnies have kind of misshapen heads, but I actually think that makes them cute. And what I really love about the bunnies is they already came with little rosy cheeks. And I just love that. My bunny's head is not really symmetrical. It's kind of lopsided, but I don't care. I still think she's so cute. And I just glued on my little heart nose that I made, that I cut out from pink felt. Now, this is becoming cuter by the moment. Last but not least, I'm pointing at the eyes there. Now, I'm actually not totally finished with this bunny, because I'm going to add a carrot. And you'll see that in a little bit. I believe I filmed that. Look at her cute spring dress. Now, I already have the eyelashes drawn on there. I just used a Sharpie, a fine point Sharpie. Maybe I didn't show the carrot, but I just took one of the Dollar Tree carrots, the small ones, and I just put it across her body, and I glued her hands so that it looked like she was holding the carrot. You'll see that in a little bit, but we're going to move on to the wreath now. Now, I have this 14-inch wreath that I covered with burlap. Now, what I'm going to do firstly is I'm going to just create a little bit of a bed of greenery around my entire wreath. Now, you do you. Use the florals that you would like to use, the colors that you would like to use, the greenery that you would like to use. You can use Dollar Tree, Hobby Lobby. Michael's often has sales on their florals. That's up to you. Now, how I adhered a lot of mine with hot glue. Now, if your wreath is going to be outside, you can add a dab of Alien Tacky Glue. You could also use, for your basic bottom layer, for any of the flowers that have a stem or the leaves that you're going to be placing on the different types of greenery, you could use the U pins, the floral pins for that. And again, you find those in the floral department at any craft store. They're just pins that look like a long U, and that you could just stick them right in. That will go into that straw wreath. I didn't have any on hand, or I would have shown you what they look like. I'm just hot gluing my greenery on. My wreath is going to be inside. I mentioned that I'm matching it to a peel and stick spring flower border that's going along a wall. So my wreath is going to be on the inside. So I can just hot glue. Now, speaking of hot glue, I use Gorilla Hot Glue. Only Gorilla Hot Glue. And I can tell you that all the years that I used the off-brands or just whatever I could find wherever I was, Walmart or whatever, the generic brands, and those glue sticks I did have problems with. My wreaths were outside in the heat, things would fall off of them, but I'm telling you, I find Gorilla Hot Glue to be awesome. So it is a few dollars more, but it's worth it. Now, you can see this is another thing that you can do. You can just take floral wire, which you can pick up at the Dollar Tree or any craft store, and you could just wrap it all the way around the wreath, and that's going to secure at least your basic greenery layer. Now, I'll be adding a little bit more greenery as I go, but I just wanted to lay down my basic bed of greenery. Now you're going to see me start to apply my flowers. Now, like I mentioned, these are going to be very vibrant, and I'm just going to start placing them around the wreath. I place my largest flowers on first, and I try to create a balance and symmetry with my florals. So I start with my largest, and then I go to my medium-sized flowers, all the way down to my smallest. Now you do you, however you want to apply them, however many you want, whatever colors you want, and like I said, wherever you want to purchase them. I saw recently a couple of different flowers at Dollar Tree that I absolutely loved, and I normally don't say that. So I think they're kind of stepping up their game a little bit on the florals that they have at the Dollar Tree. Now I'm just going to cover the whole top of my wreath with a lot of color and flowers. Now I set my bunny down in there and decided how I was going to sit my bunny so I could kind of situate my flowers around the bunny. So as you can see there, I have my largest on. I have a couple of roses. I have some smaller purple roses, some yellow, that kind of bluish purple. And I just covered that wreath with florals. And then I also added some more greenery where I needed it, as well some little filler flowers. And this is the end result. There's the carrot that I mentioned that I got at Dollar Tree. I did add my own greenery to the top of the carrot because I really like to do that with carrots. Look how cute she's holding a carrot. I'm sorry. I think this is adorable. I hope you like it too. Okay. Until next time, you all take care.